I saw that as an attachment, but that attachment wasn't provided. So someone had printed off a document that clearly showed there was an attachment, but they had not given me the attachment. So I thought I was super clear when I wrote back and said, hey, I want the attachments to these documents. And I tried as hard as I could to highlight exactly where they were, named the document, named where the attachment was, named what the attachment, actually was called.
We just got a hold of this Fulton County Superior Court order just in the last roughly 15 to 20 minutes. In it, Judge Rachel Krause rules that DA Fani Willis violated the State Open Records Act by failing to turn over documents requested by defense attorney Ashley Merchant. The judge wrote that the defendants, the Fulton County DA's office, were openly hostile to Merchant and failed to handle her requests in good faith.
Guys, we have to talk about Fani Willis playing keep away with public records like it's some kind of gym class at the Fulton County Jail. Let's set the stage, because I briefly mentioned this on my last video about Fani Willis and this open records violation because it's extremely important. So I wanted to dive into it deeper. So imagine this, the district attorney leading the Trump interference case, the one who said she's fighting for truth and justice, just got hit with a $54,000 fine because she literally broke the law. Not by accident, not by mistake, but because she straight up refused to hand over public records. A judge even called her office hostile. That is not just a bad look. This is a serious threat to democracy, to true justice. If the person who's supposed to uphold the law can ignore transparency laws with zero shame, what message does that send to the rest of the government? It tells community that power protects itself and accountability is just for the little guys. That's the real danger. When trust in the justice system dies, people stop believing in fairness and start expecting corruption. Real quick, before we break down how dangerous this behavior is, let me put you onto something that actually helps people. If you are 65 or older, or helping out a parent who is, you need to look into Chapter. Most folks don't compare Medicare plans every year, and that means they're probably overpaying, sometimes by hundreds of dollars. Chapter makes it easy. They compare every plan available, not just the ones that advertise the most, and make sure you get the coverage you need without wasting any money. It's a 15-minute call, no spam, no pressure, just a better deal for your health. So if you or someone you love is navigating Medicare, call 262-454-0419. That is 262-454-0419. Or head to the link in the description box below. Now let's get into it. We've talked a lot about the downfall of Fani Willis on this channel. You already know about the scandals, the conflict of interest, and the messy drama that follows her relationship with Nathan Wade. But this time I want to zoom in on that one moment that really shows how deep the problem goes, this $54,000 fine that she just got hit with. But we have to talk about a lawyer named Ashley Merchant. Ashley Merchant has been a thorn on the side of Fulton County for a while now. During the YSL trial, she was relentless. She pushed back against overreach and made it clear she wasn't afraid to call out the theatrics in the courtroom.
About a dozen defense attorneys showed up to support Brian Steele, who's representing rapper Young Thug in his criminal racketeering case.
Anytime a member or a criminal defense lawyer is making a motion in good faith and they're being shut down by the judge and threatened with jail, that's scary.
The reason Steele was held in contempt by Judge Ural Glanville?
The judge was having ex parte communications with the district attorney and a witness. That means he was talking to the district attorney and the witness without anyone from the defense being present.
Some called her a disruptor. Others saw her as the only one asking the tough questions. Either way, she made life difficult for Fani Willis. Just ask Brian Steele, another veteran defense attorney who was actually held in contempt and briefly jailed after demanding the judge disclose when certain witnesses had met privately in the office. That's how messy things are under Fani's watch. The way her judges treated defense attorneys who tried to ask tough questions just showed how allergic this entire office is to scrutiny. So when Ashley Merchant showed up again in the Trump election interference case, Fani should have known that this was not going to be easy. So Ashley Merchant is the defense attorney for Michael Roman, one of Trump's co-defenders in that Georgia election case. She filed an open records request to see communications between DA Fani Willis and a special prosecutor she hired named Nathan Wade. Now you guys already know how messy this gets. Wade and Willis was in a romantic relationship, all booed up while prosecuting one of the most high-profile cases in America. And Wade was getting paid with taxpayer dollars. So Merchant wanted to see the receipts. Emails, contracts, text messages, basic transparency stuff. And that's when Fani's office decided to play hide and seek with the truth. Georgia has an Open Records Act. It's not a suggestion, it's the law. If someone files a request, the government officials have to respond, period. No ghosting allowed. They can't just pretend that they didn't get the request. They have to answer it. But Fani's office, they ducked the request like it was a subpoena at a mobster's funeral. According to the judge, they were hostile, uncooperative, and acted in bad faith. That's legalese for you tried to cover this up on purpose. You tried to hide it. The total opposite of transparency.
I believe, based on the evidence that I've seen, there is no dispute that the records that were sought, that the requests were clear, and that to the extent that the custodian did not understand what was being requested, it was the obligation of them to make a good faith effort to make sure they understood what was being provided or what was being requested.
And this isn't just some petty legal drama. When the top prosecutor, the same person putting others on trial, starts breaking laws herself, that's a 5-alarm fire. That's not just hypocrisy. This is extremely dangerous, because if she can't ignore the law, what's stopping everyone else? Think about it. The Open Records Act exists so journalists, lawyers, and the public can hold powerful people accountable. It's how we find out about the corruption deals, the shady hires, and the backroom decisions. Fani used her office like a fortress. She didn't just ignore the request. She made it hard on purpose. She slow-walked responses, withheld documents, and made Ashley Merchant spend months fighting in court just to get access to basic information. The judge didn't miss words. This wasn't a mistake. It was intentional.
At the end of the day, the relevant consideration is, are these public documents that the public is entitled to see? And was a request made, and was a good faith effort made to comply with those requests? And because despite the fact that the DA's office may not like what Ms. Merchant may or may not do with those documents, that doesn't change the outcome.
So the court ruled that Fani Willis and her office violated Georgia's transparency laws and ordered them to cough up over $54,000 in legal fees. That's public money. That is your tax dollars paying for her legal nonsense, her legal tantrum. You want to know how bad it got? The judge said that their behavior was substantially groundless. That's lawyer talk, that you wasted everyone's time because you thought that you were above the law. At this point, Fani Willis might need a lawyer more than just having a courtroom. Now, of course, she's appealing the ruling, of course, trying to spin like this was all just a misunderstanding, but the damage has been done. The credibility that she once had is all gone. This is the same DA that painted herself to be the warrior for justice, standing tall against political corruption, but behind the scenes, she's acting like a gatekeeper to her own secrets. Totally corrupt. And what does that mean for the community that she serves? It's not just about one case. If the top prosecutor is willing to bury documents and weaponize silence, how many other cases could be compromised? How many innocent people could be left in the dark? Or worse, how many guilty ones could walk? So this is one of the biggest issues I have with the situation, that you are willing to do this to very powerful people, other high-profile people. Imagine what's happening to the little guy, people like me and you, people who don't have millions of dollars to cough up for lawyers. They can't sit there and just spend money to protect themselves. The people who need legal aids, what happens there? It shows that the little people definitely get screwed in the process. If you can't get transparency, we're done. Game over. There's nothing we can do. So this is why I thought it was so important to talk about this situation, because if this is happening in other parts of the country, it needs to be called out, because we need the Open Records Act to be functional and working. You can't have district attorneys trying to stop it from happening. It's dangerous and it can't continue. This isn't just about politics anymore. It's about principle. If the person at the top of the justice system is breaking rules to protect herself, then no one is safe. Transparency laws are there for a reason. They protect us from the people who think their titles makes them untouchable. So ask yourself, if the watchdog becomes the wolf, who's left to guard the gate? Let me know in the comments, should Fani Willis just resign at this point? Or is this just more political smoke? Hit the like button if you're tired of the double standards. Subscribe if you believe that public officials should be held accountable just like the rest of us. And if you want to support this channel directly and keep those deep dives coming, check out my Patreon. You'll get bonus content, early uploads, all the exclusive stuff. And don't forget to sign up to my newsletter. That's also in the description below. Oh yeah, don't forget, check out Chapter if you are looking for Medicare and if you are around the age of 65 and older, because even if your DA is out there wilding out, your Medicare plan shouldn't be. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.